Everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Kelvin, and today I will take you through creating direct orders in TaroWorks Enterprise. In today's deep dive, we're going to review how direct orders work and how to set them up. We shall also look at some of the best practices to consider when creating direct orders. Later, we're going to open the session for any questions and comments. Great. Without supply chain transparency, emerging market distribution efforts can experience stockouts that increase costs, erode trust, and decrease revenue. TaroWorks Enterprise Mobile Inventory Management System enables you to track stock levels and product movements between your warehouses, even from offline smartphones or tablets. Taro orders represent planned product movements into, within, or out of your organization. There are three types of Taro orders. The first one is a purchase order. This brings inventory into your organization, thus increasing your inventory within the specific warehouse that you have ordered from. The second type of order we have is the transfer order. So this happens when moving inventory within your organization, e.g. from one warehouse to another. This increases your inventory in your destination warehouse and reduces inventory in your source warehouse. The last type of order we have is the sales order. This order moves inventory outside the organization and records and is used majorly to record sales made from a particular inventory, hence reducing the inventory in that particular warehouse where the sale was made from. TaroWorks orders have specific statuses that they have to go through before proceeding for completion or shipment or confirmed statuses. So I'm going to give an overview of the different kind of statuses that we have, starting with the draft status. So this is the initial status of a Taro order and represents a work in progress order. This means that this order can still be edited if need be. The confirmed status represents an order that has been approved and inventory is ready to be shipped or completed. An order where all Taro order line items under it have been determined can be moved into confirmed status. The next status we're going to see is the shipped status. So this represents an order that has been shipped or inventory has left the warehouse. This is an optional status for a transfer and sales order. It is most applicable when you have inventory that takes days before reaching the destination and we need to update the correct values at the source warehouse. For an order to be shipped, all Taro order line items must be shipped first. The other status that we have for Taro orders is a completed status. This status represents an order in which inventory has been received in the destination warehouse, or the delivery has been completed. The customer has received and confirmed that the delivery has been made. When Taro order line items are completed, the Taro order status changes to completed. And when also an order is marked complete, inventory movements are also captured. The final status that we have is the cancelled status, which happens rarely. And it represents a Taro order and all Taro order line items under it that have been cancelled. Only Taro orders and Taro order line items in draft can be cancelled. Before proceeding to the next session of direct orders, I would like to pause there and ask if there are any questions that have come in from the attendees. Tabitha?
No questions so far, Kelvin. We can proceed.
Thank you. Great. So what are direct orders? Direct orders provide offline mobile users a more streamlined user experience when working with orders by allowing them to skip order statuses for specific scenarios while maintaining data integrity or for inventory counts. To start with, as an exception, local transfer orders between different warehouses outside of regular replenishment, they want to be able to have a conversation on the phone with other technical coordinators and agree upon how much of what product will be transferred and when, and then create a transfer order in a confirmed status. Another scenario will be when sometimes technicians want to distribute a product at no additional cost to the customer while on a service call because something is under warranty. They want to be able to create a sales order in a completed status to reflect the distribution. I'm going to demo the different orders using a fictional company, Solarcom. Solarcom is a social enterprise that works in remote communities, distributing solar lamps and solar-powered water pumps to provide reliable lighting and quick access to water. They also use TaroWorks Enterprise to record sales, deliveries, and monitor inventory levels. They also do monitor to see the impact of their products to the communities. For our use case today, let me just load the mobile screen quickly. So for our use case today, Solarcom warehouse mobile users are creating complete sales order for one of their customers who has visited their warehouse. This will be done on the TaroWorks mobile application. So one of our warehouse managers, Peter Kimani, is meeting with John, a returning customer. John has been using Solarcom Home 120 for 6 months now, and he has heard of the newly released Pico 360 lamp. Starting from Salesforce, let's first view how many units are currently available for order. So before we complete the sales order, let's quickly jump to Salesforce and view the already loaded page. So as you can see, we have several products in our Nairobi warehouse, which is where John is visiting, and Peter is one of the warehouse managers in this warehouse. So the product for today is the Pico Plus, and from here you can see that we have 89 units available and on hand. So meaning that any order we make should be within this number or limit. Then we can also see the restocking levels, which has not been done over the last few days, but should be done initially. And so as we can see, we have 89 units available. And so I'll jump back to our mobile application to start off the order. So in TaroWorks mobile application, under the job section, click on the sales order, click on the new job, and then click on make sale. And then we select our Nairobi warehouse. From Nairobi warehouse, we can see that we have our customer John, who is part of our warehouse contact list. And we can also assign the records that we want to view that will clarify our order as we make it. So we can see the contact details and also we can see the contact ID. Together with the contact details, we have the price book details. So the price book covers generally the product details. That's from the product name, the unit price, the bulk quantity price, and also the bulk price, the bulk quantity. So in our standard price book, we have it tied to our product book with our price book entry. And we also have the product name listed under that particular price book entry. But all these are related with each other and you can still work with the price book. So we are going to pick our Pico Plus since it's the only product that John is ordering. And then from here we can see that the order type is a sales order as required. And then the customer name has been task mapped into our question together with the date of order and the expected delivery date. Normally, we expect the date of order and the expected delivery date to be the same, or the expected delivery date can be a date after the date of order. We also need to mark this order as direct order, since if we don't do that, then we are not able to jump the statuses that we discussed earlier on. So I'm going to click next. From here, we can see that we have the order line items. So this is majorly picked from the price book and the price book entry. You can see that we have the product name, which is the Pico Plus, which we initially selected at the start. And then we can see the price of the product. This is the list price and this is the bulk price. So if John ordered more than 10 units for this product, the price to be used will be the 1200 price. If he ordered less than 10 units, then the price will be 1500. For our trial today, we are going to use 12 units so that we can use the bulk price. Once we've done that, you can see the line item totals, that the total has been calculated based on the bulk price since we ordered units above 10. So we're going to hit on next. And then we're going to see the total amount due, which is the same as the line item total. Then we're going to hit mark complete. Then we're going to sync now. Let's give it some time to sync. Great. So once we go back to Salesforce, we're going to our Taro order tab. Then we're going to refresh this to get today's orders. Great, sorry for that. So as you can see, we have the order, which is number 17. And then we can also add the additional items that we want to easily view without going to the order details. So we can check on the quantity ordered. Let's remove one of these record types and then click on save. So we can see that there are 12 items that were ordered. We can as well add the select fields display to select the total. So from here we can see that we have a total of 14,400 euros. And we have the customers John Doe, and then we have the direct order as yes. Then we can see today's date, the 24th of August 2022, the time. Then we can see that the order status is completed and the record type is the sales order. So before anything, I'll just hit on the inventory and then duplicate this. So our focus is going to be Pico Plus. So we want to see if that quantity has reflected under here. So this needs to reduce. Whatever we have in hand or available needs to reduce by 12. So if we check that again, can confirm that Pico Plus, there were 12 units that were ordered by John. That's why there was a noticeable inventory movement under that. So without further ado, I'm going to the order. So from the order status, you can notice that we have the source location and the source warehouse. And then we have the customer, and then we have the price book that we had initially selected in mobile. We also have the order ID. Then the most crucial information, the last delivery date, the total quantity delivered, the total quantity ordered, and then the number of line items. And since we're ordering only one product, that's why we only have one line item. But you can have different line items for the same product. So we're going to hit on related, and then we're going to see our line item. So remember, as I was starting, I said that for an order to be marked complete, a direct order, it has to have a line item under it. And this is why it was possible to do that. Something else to notice under the line item is the quantity delivered, the quantity ordered, the price book entry price, which was the list price, and then the unit price, which was the discounted price based on the quantity ordered. We also notice that we have the last delivery date. So as I said, this should be greater than the date of order, greater or equal to the date of order, so that it can work. And then if you have any shorter delivery, then it means that this should be marked as yes, and then the last quantity delivered should reflect the amount that was delivered, so that when you are doing the next shipping, you're going to have the right quantity now to indicate that maybe we had 6 units delivered. Now we are going to have 6 more units delivered maybe next week. So I'm going to pause there and ask Tabitha if there are any questions from the attendees.
No questions have come through. Just a reminder that you can type your question in the chat, then we'll answer it. So for now, Kelvin, we can proceed.
Great, thanks Tabitha. Great. So our next phase, we're going to look at how to configure this job and form for the sales order. So I'm going back to Salesforce. Then we're going to our TaroWorks tab. Then we're going to go to the forms. Then we're going to go to our the create sales order. So I'm going to hit on edit. And then straight away to question builder. So I'm going to highlight some key items that we need to consider when creating a sales order in complete status. One crucial item, apart from the location, the price book, and the warehouses, we need to mark this order type as a sales order. Essentially, you can have multiple order types, but for our case, we're going to use only one form for a particular order type. So that's why we have hard-coded this with dynamic operations, and that's why in mobile application it appears as the default value, which is not editable. Another crucial information, if you want to follow up who the customer was and the date of order, then you need to have those details as well added. Some other crucial detail is the date of order, the expected delivery date, and the last delivery date. So both last day delivery date and expected delivery date can be equal to the date of order or dates after the dates of order. So essentially, if you have an order that has a last delivery date that's maybe 23rd August, then that means that that order won't be successful when you sync to Salesforce. Another item to take into consideration is marking the order as a direct order. And this is why we have this as marked yes using dynamic operations. So for any direct order, basically an order that jumps statuses, you have to mark it as a direct order, a yes. And if it's marked as no, then that order won't be successful. And since we wanted our sales order to be in complete status, that's why we had to use the help of dynamic operations to actually set that up so that when we sync, the order is in completed status. Other crucial items should be the order line items, which are very important because any Taro order to be marked, confirmed, or shipped, or delivered, or completed needs to have order line items under it in the same status. The line item totals is something crucial as well, but not very crucial in a way because whatever quantity that you have ordered in the mobile application will be multiplied by the price that you had set initially using dynamic operations, and it will be calculated upon sync, and that same number that we saw in mobile, the 14,400 euros, will be reflected in Salesforce once you sync. We also have the total amount due. So this is only shown on Salesforce, as we shall see it's shown only on mobile, as we shall see in the next phase of field mapping. So we're going to go to field mapping quickly. Then from here we can see that we have some objects that are set as reference objects and some as not reference objects. So the ones that are set as reference objects simply means that we are not going to create new records for them, but we're going to refer to them so that they can help us to create the new orders and line items. For example, the contact. If you wanted to create a new contact, then you can always add an additional a duplicate of the contact object under here, and then you can add it as not reference so that if you wanted to create a new customer, that would be possible. But since we're referring to an already existing customer, we don't need to do that. For the Taro order, since we're creating a new order, most of these items are actually new items. So these are going to be created in sync. So the record type ID basically marks the order if it's a sales order, or it's a transfer order, or it's a purchase order. And then we have the Taro order line item, which is also not a reference object, but a new record that we're going to create in Salesforce. The product, the warehouse, and the location, the price book are crucial since we're going to use the price identified in the price book to come up with a list price of that item. We also need the location. This is essentially when you have multiple warehouses across the globe. Let's say you have in Africa 5 warehouses, and then in Brazil you have 2 warehouses. So this helps a lot if you have a global team. But if you only have a team in Kenya, then you can always use the warehouse object as a reference object only. The product also helps us capture the details of the product name and the ID of the product. Before I jump to the job, I'm going to ask Tabitha if there is a new question from the attendees.
Yes, Kelvin, we have one question from Daniel. He's asking, can you create a direct order in Salesforce and not in the TaroWorks app?
Great question, Darren. Yes, actually yes, but it's not recommended since a connected user can easily flow through the required stages of an order. Of the direct order flag is omitted from the page layout in Salesforce. As mentioned, direct orders are meant to be a tool for admins to streamline mobile users' experience who do not have reliable connectivity and therefore may not have a good connection to process an order through all the stages as shown in the beginning of the presentation. Tabitha, was that clear?
Good. Let me see. Daniel said, yeah, okay, yeah, that answers his question. Thank you. Yeah, you can proceed. That was the only question for now.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Tabitha. So we are going to head to our job phase. We already have the sales order job, but I've cloned it to make this exercise simpler for all of you. So from here, you note that in mobile application, we had some items that reflected in the form automatically without us editing or putting them manually. So I'm just going to load them quickly again, an example to save on time. So you can see we had the sales order, we had the customer name, and we had the product name, the price, the list price, the bulk price, and the minimum quantity for the bulk price. So this can always be added under the drill down hierarchy so that they are accessible for selection in mobile. So we have the warehouse and we have the contact. The contact is in the second level since it's related to the warehouse as a lookup relationship. So we can always have contacts under a particular warehouse, or we can have a contact under many warehouses, depending on your scenarios. And then we have the price book and the price book entry. This is the same case. So in price book, this helps you capture the price book, the price of the product, and also in the price book entry, it helps you to determine whether it's the bulk price or the list price. And also it's referring to the price book as well, since it's a child of that object. So for you to be able to perform a similar sales order that we have done at the last few minutes, then you need to have all these objects set up so that when you have the form ready, and then when you publish it, you can always use that form. And then when you come here under the task edit, you can always map these items to fit your criteria. You notice that there are some items that are hidden since we really don't need to have a view on them. And then we have the contact, which is shown. And then the price book details, which is the product name, the price, product name again, and then the price book ID. So this helps you to actually makes your work easier without needing you to refer to books or checkbooks or any other references. And then you can always allow selection of many records in the last level so that you can work on multiple products at the same time. In our case, we only selected the Pico Plus since we're only interested in that. But if we wanted, we could have selected all and worked on them. But since we're not going to do that, we just do that very quickly so that all you can see how this works. Then we'll need to review the inventory again. So let's just go ahead and sync. So as it syncs, you notice that we have several crucial items that we need to consider in our TaroWorks job. But before that, let me just load this again. So we had 77. We had 77 and this we had 88. The others were still the same. So the moment we see that it has reduced to 74, and then the other one has reduced from 120 to 116, then 116 to 113, and 88 to 85. Then from the order list, you can always find that order under today's order. So this is a filter specifically created to view any orders that were made today. So this is our order. Great. So I'm going back to our presentation, and then we are going to have a look at considerations to view before creating this kind of orders. So first of all, direct orders are defined on the order level. Meaning that whenever you mark the direct order as yes or no, that's done on the order level. So if you're creating a new sales order, you're basically creating a new you have to define whether it's a direct order or it's not a direct order. That's why you need to check yes or no. And if it's no, then that order won't be successful. But if it's yes, that order will go through. And then the other consideration to make is that all details must be provided on the order as per the order status. So for example, you had an order in confirmed status. That's a transfer order. So for that order to be successful, all items under it must be in confirmed status, and they also have to match the date of that order to be successful. So I'm going to pause there and then ask Tabitha to share any more questions that we have and also open up the question and answer session.
Thank you, Kelvin, for that presentation. Before I look at the questions, just to notify our attendees that we have a handout available for you if you would like to configure what the form that Kelvin just showcased. So we have a handout that has the questions and the configurations, especially on the dynamic operations bit. So it's available as a handout. We have one question from Mercy. Mercy asks, what happens if I try to create an order in a status other than draft without setting the direct order flag to yes?
Great question, Tabitha. So you remember the details that we have to provide and also to define the direct orders under the order level. So essentially, you will hit an error if the order is in a different status other than draft without setting the direct order flag to yes. So that's why it's important when creating this order type, you have to confirm that the direct order has been set to yes, so that when you sync, it doesn't bring up any errors on your end.
Okay, Mercy
Tabitha,
says
was that
thank
clear?
you. Yeah, Mercy says thank you. That was clear. And it seems that's the only questions we have for today. Okay, yeah, so thank you so much, Kelvin, and thank you to our audience. Like mentioned, this recording will be available on our YouTube channel, so for future reference, and also the handout, as I mentioned, is available for your reference. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and enjoy the rest of your day and evening.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
Bye bye.